You too, Rabbi.
Thank you.
Our service this evening begins on page 6, if you have a prayer book at home, with Shalom Aleichem, and please join me. Shalom Aleichem, Malachei HaShoret, Malachei Ayon, Mi Melech Malachei HaMlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Molechem Shalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Ayon, Mi Melech Malachei HaMlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Baruch Hu Nid Shalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Ayon, Mi Melech Malachei HaMlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Tzeitichem Shalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Ayon, Mi Melech Malachei HaMlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu.
We turn to page 9 in our prayer book for Shabbat candle lighting.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu להדליק נר של שבת.
For those who are able, we rise together and we turn to page 10 for Kiddush.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam morei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu V'Shabbat Kodsho Ratzon Hinachilanu Zikaron L'Maaseh V'Reishit Ki Hu Yom Techila L'Mikra'ei Kodesh Zecher L'Tziat Mitzrayim Ki avanu v'acharta v'otanu kidashta mikol ha'amim v'shabbat kadshecha v'yahava uvratzon hinachaltanu Baruch atah Adonai Mekadesh HaShabbat.
Amen. Please be seated. Romamu, the top of page 4.
Romemu Adonai Eloheinu v'hishtachavu l'har kodesh. Romemu Adonai Eloheinu v'hishtachavu l'har kodesh. Ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu Romemu. Ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu Romemu. Romemu Adonai Eloheinu v'hishtachavu l'har kodesh. Romemu Adonai Eloheinu v'hishtachavu l'har kodesh. Lechadodi likrat kahala pnei Shabbat nekabela. Lechadodi likrat kahala pnei Shabbat nekabela. Shamor v'zachor v'dibor echad hishmianu el hamiuchad Adonai echad u'shemo echad shemul tiferet v'litihila. Lechadodi likrat kahala pnei Shabbat nekabela. Lechadodi likrat kahala pnei Shabbat nekabela. Likrat Shabbat lechov v'nelecha ki mekor haberacha merosh mikedem nesucha sof ma'aseh v'machshava techila. Lechadodi likrat kahala pnei Shabbat nekabela. Lechadodi likrat kahala pnei Shabbat nekabela. Hitorari kiva orech kumi ori shir daberi v'od Adonai alayich niglas.
We rise together and greet the West, Shabbat HaMalkah.
Bo'i v'shalom ateret ba'ala gam b'simcha u'v'tzohalot emune am segula. Bo'i chala lechadodi likrat kahala pnei Shabbat nekabela. Lechadodi likrat kahala pnei Shabbat nekabela.
Remain standing and we turn to the bottom of page 11.
Am I awake? Am I prepared? Are you listening to my prayer? Can you hear my voice? Can you understand? Am I awake? Am I prepared? Ya la 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 la, 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 ya la 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 la. Barechu et Adonai HaMevorach. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach le'olam va'ed. Le'olam va'ed. Ya la 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 la, 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 ya la 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 la. ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la.
Please be seated. We turn to the bottom of page 13. As the great Hasidic master Rabbi Nachman of Bretzloff taught us, Master of the universe, grant me the ability to be alone. May it be my custom to go outdoors each day, among the trees and grasses, among all growing things, there to be alone and enter into prayer. And there may I express all that is in my heart, talking with God to whom I belong. And may all grasses, trees, and plants awake at my coming. Send the power of their life into my prayer, making whole my heart and my speech through the life and spirit of growing things, made whole by their transcendent source. Oh, that they would enter into my prayer. Then would I fully open my heart in prayer, supplication, and holy speech. Then, O God, would I pour out the words of my heart before your presence. On the next page.
Ahavat Olam Beit Yisrael Amecha Ahavta Torah u'mitzvot Chukim u'mishpatim Otanu lemadeta Al kein Adonai Eloheinu B'shochveinu u'vekumeinu Nasiach b'chukecha V'nismach b'divrei Toratecha U'v'mitzvotecha Le'olam aved Ki hem Chayenu Ve'orech Yameinu Uvahem Negeh Yomam Malayla Ve'avatecha Atasir mimenu le'olamim Baruch atah Adonai Ohev amo Yisrael. Open up our eyes, teach us how to live, fill our hearts with joy and all the love you have to give. Gather us in peace as you lead us to your name, and we will know that you are one. We will know that you are one. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. 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 Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Le'olam Moed. ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך. והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם.
The bottom of page 20. As a matter of truth and of faith, we proclaim that Adonai is our God and there is none else, and we are Israel, God's people. God has freed us from the grip of earthly rulers. Our sovereign redeemed us from the fist of tyrants. God has done great things and countless wonders that surpass our understanding, given us life that we have not stumbled. God has given us miracles to overcome Pharaoh, signs and wonders in the land of Egypt, and from their midst Israel was brought to eternal freedom. When the children of Israel witnessed the divine power, they extolled God, gave thanks, and accepted God's dominion. With great joy, Moses and all Israel sang the song, our song of redemption, Michomocha, top of page 21.
Ya la 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 la, ya la la la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la la la, ya la 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 la. Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi kamocha ne'edar b'kodesh, norat tehilot osef ele, norat tehilot osef ele. Malechotecha ra'u vanecha, bokei hayam lifnei Moshe, Ze'elianu ve'amru, Ze'elianu ve'ameru, Adonai yimloch le'olam, le'olam va'ed, Adonai yimloch le'olam, le'olam va'ed. Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi kamocha ne'edar b'kodesh, norat tehilot osef ele, norat tehilot osef ele. Ya la la la, ya la 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 la, ya la la la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la. ונאמר כי פודו אדוני את יעקב, ולא מי החזק ממנו, ברוך אתה אדוני Yisrael.
The top of page 23, we continue. Adonai, our God, cause us to lie down in peace and raise us up, our sovereign, to life. Cover us with the sukkah of your peace. Improve us with your good counsel and save us for the sake of your name. Shield us. Remove from us enmity, pestilence, war, hunger, and anguish. Let there be no evil before us or behind us. Protect us within the shadow of your wings, for you are our guardian and our helper, our divine ruler, merciful and gracious. Guard our going out and our coming into life and to peace, now and forevermore. Cover us with the sukkah of your peace. Bless you, Adonai. Spread the sukkah of peace over us, over all the people of Israel, and over Jerusalem.
Adonai, Hapores Sukkot Shalom, Shalom Aleinu ve'al kol Amo Yisrael. Baruch Atah Adonai, Hapores Sukkot Shalom, Shalom Aleinu ve'al kol Amo Yisrael. Me'al Yerushalayim ve'al kol Amo, me'al Yerushalayim Shalom. Baruch Atah Adonai, Hapores Sukkot Shalom, Shalom Aleinu ve'al kol Amo Yisrael.
The people of Israel shall keep Shabbat, observing Shabbat in every generation as a covenant forever. It is a sign between me and the people of Israel that in 6 days God made heaven and earth. On the seventh day, God rested and was renewed.
Vishamru, Vishamru, B'nai Yisrael, et HaShabbat, la'asot, et HaShabbat, ledorotam berit olam. Beini uvein B'nai Yisrael, oti le'olam. Beini uvein B'nai Yisrael, oti le'olam. Vishamru, Vishamru, B'nai Yisrael, et HaShabbat, la'asot, et HaShabbat, ledorotam berit olam. Ki she'eshet yamim asa Adonai et hashamayim me'et haaretz. Vishamru, Vishamru, B'nai Yisrael, et HaShabbat, la'asot, et HaShabbat, ledorotam berit olam. Uvayom hashvi'i shavat vayinafash. Uvayom hashvi'i shavat vayinafash. Vishamru, Vishamru B'nai Yisrael, et HaShabbat, la'asot, et HaShabbat, ledorotam berit olam.
We rise together for tefillah on page 24.
Adonai sefatai tiftachu fi yagid hilatecha. Eternal God, open my lips that my mouth may declare your glory. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu ve'Elohei avoteinu ve'imoteinu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, ve'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol Hagibor Vanora, Elyon, Gomer Chasadim Tovim, V'koneh Hakol, V'zocher Chasdei Avot Ve'imahot, ומביא גאולה לבני בניהם, למען שמו ואהבה. מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן, ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם ועזרת שרה. אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיי מתים אתה, רב להושיע, מוריד הטל. מכלכל חיים בחסד, מחיי מתים ברחמים רבים, זומך נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר, מי כמוך בעל גבורות, ומינו מלך, מלך במית ומחיה ומצמיח ישועה, ונאמן אתה להחיות מתים. ברוך אתה אדוני מחיה המתים. אתה קדוש ושמך קדוש, וקדושים בכל יום יהללוך סלה. ברוך אתה אדוני האל HaKadosh.
Please be seated. The bottom of page 29, as Rabbi Abraham Joshua Heschel reminds us, the meaning of Shabbat is to celebrate time rather than space. 6 days a week we live under the tyranny of things in space, but on Shabbat we try to become attuned to the holiness in time. It's a day when we are called upon to share in what is eternal in time, to turn from the result of creation to the mystery of creation, from the world of creation to the creation of the world. The bottom of page 30, we continue. Desire, Adonai, our God, your people Israel, and with love accept our prayers. And may the worship of Israel, your people, always be pleasing in your sight. O God, who is close to all who cry out, turn your face toward your servants and be gracious unto us. Pour out your Spirit upon us, and with mercy let our eyes behold your return to Zion. Blessed are you, Adonai, who restores divine presence to Zion. The top of page 35. Grant us peace, thy most precious gift, O thou eternal source of peace. Enable Israel to be its messenger unto the peoples of the earth. Bless our country, that it may ever be a stronghold of peace and its advocate among the nations. Make contentment reign within its borders, health and happiness within its homes. Strengthen the bonds of friendship and fellowship among the inhabitants of all lands. Plant virtue in every soul, and may the love of thy name hallow every home and every heart. Praise be thou, Lord, giver of peace. Page 34.
Shalom Rav, HaYisrael Amcha, Tasim Le'olam. Shalom Rav, HaYisrael Amcha, Tasim Le'olam. Ki atahu Melech Adon, B'chol HaShalom. Atahu Melech Adon, B'chol HaShalom. Shalom Rav, HaYisrael Amcha, Nasim le'olam Shalom Rav HaYisrael Amcha Nasim le'olam V'tov be'einecha levarech Et Amcha Yisrael V'chol eit u'v'chol sha'ah B'shlomecha Shalom Rav HaYisrael Amcha Sim le'olam Shalom Rav HaYisrael Amcha Tasim le'olam Tasim le'olam Tasim le'olam
Moments for silent prayer.
Of my mouth and the meditations of my heart be acceptable in your sight, Adonai, my rock and my Redeemer. May God who causes peace to reign in the heavens up above give peace to us and all Israel and all the world. Amen. Oseh shalom kimromav uyaseh Shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'imru Amen.
We're at that moment in our service where we think of those in our community who are in need of healing of body or spirit. On this Shabbat, we especially think of Jesse Bates, Brian Cohn, Raymond Gottlieb, Bert Cotton, Isaac Petrowski, Bethany Pridmore, Lena Bluestein, Katie Bates, Kenny Siegel, Rucker Collier, Eileen Johnson, Christy St. Charles and Dawn St. Charles, Kaki Colette Mendel, and Diane Larson. We ask you right now just to take a few moments to think of your loved ones who are in need of healing of body or spirit. Our Misha Berach, our prayer for healing, is on the bottom of page 38.
Mi shebeirach avoteinu mikol habracha leimoteinu. May the source of strength, who blessed the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Mi shebeirach imoteinu mikol habracha leimoteinu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen.
Shabbat Shalom, everybody. So as we discussed the past two Shabbats, that the first couple parshiot, the first couple chapters of the book of Deuteronomy, is Moses' farewell address. And he knows that, again, this is his last chapter of his career. He's passing the leadership to Joshua to lead the people into Israel. But as I said the past couple of weeks, this is his opportunity to ensure that Israel gets it. And after all, they are returning back to Eretz Israel, this special and sacred land where they will go and dwell. And he instructs them in this form of a homily, a sermon, that there's a special connection to living in the land and the laws that we will observe. And some of these laws are a reminder, but again, it's in this type of homiletic oration to remind Israel of their sacred obligation when returning in the land of Israel. But our parshat this week, what I briefly want to talk about, Ki Titzah, is a little bit different. And here's where we have a return to more laws, that you're obligated to do X, Y, and Z, and not to do. And some of these laws are interesting to process, but on the other hand, today, they're somewhat challenging. And one of the laws, of course, that we come across is the idea of the rebellious son. As we learn in the Torah in Deuteronomy chapter 21, that if a son is drinking too much or is eating too much, he is dishonoring his father and mother. And therefore, according to this prescription, the father and mother are obligated to take him to the elders, and then the elders, of course, will take him to the center of town, and there in which they will do something where he will no longer exist. And this is supposed to create fear among the Israelites. So it's a form of a warning. This was a problem, and it was a problem for many rabbis in our tradition, because they wondered, how could we ever write such a law and especially enforce it? Now, there's two possible ideas when looking at biblical law. There's this one understanding that if laws were written in the Torah, they were written and enforced. They weren't written for the sake of being written. I don't know how much I buy that. I studied this a lot at Vanderbilt. But our sages tend to disagree with that idea. They say, we don't really do that. And through compendium of years and years of looking at this verse about the rebellious son, they look at it as a form to prevent addiction, that they know that addiction exists in some capacity, and therefore they don't want parents to suffer because the child is suffering. So this was a reminder to the parents to look out, to be careful. And when a son is being rebellious, he's not rebelling against the parents, he's rebelling inward in his soul because of his behaviors. But again, our rabbis had deep problem with this law. So when we look in Sanhedrin and the Babylonian Talmud, which speaks to legal procedures and courts, to say, what are we supposed to do with this idea of the rebellious son? And I love the teaching which they offer. Why was the rebellious son written in the Torah? For one reason only, so that we can study it and learn more about it, but we know it never happened and it never will. So what does that mean for us today? It's a good question. We don't have this idea of rebellious son. Obviously, we don't do this. But of course, it's a conversation about internal rebellions and how to process that. But I think it's much deeper. I think our rabbis give us this avenue to challenge our biblical text. Not to go away from the text or to preach against it per se, but to see it, to study it, and of course, disagree with it. After all, disagreeing is part of why we're Jews. It's part of our ethos. We don't agree on a lot of things, especially today as we have seen. But the purpose of this story in the Talmud is that we can look at it, we study it, we disagree, and then we move on. Shabbat Shalom. We turn to page 40 and we rise together for Aleinu. There are stars above. So far, only we see their light. Long, long after the star itself is gone. And so it's with the people that we loved. Their memories keep shining ever brightly, though their time with us is done. But the stars that light up the darkest night, these are the light that guide us. As we live our days, these are the ways that we remember. On the Shabbat, we recall the yortzites of Jack W. Allen Sr., Yetta Benton, Bela Berman Block, William L. Camp, Connie Cohen, Melvin Barkin Estroff, Sarah Friedman, Florence Goldstein, Isidore Halpern, Julia Hannon, Pauline Harris, Julius L. Herman, Jenny Hirschberg, Sarah Glass Hirsch, Matilda L. Holzer, Joanne Goldstein Hornick, Murray A. Coslin, Mose Levy, Janet Liberman, Helen Madelson, Charles Brooke Mahaffey, Eleanor Meldnikoff, Fred Michaelov, Nathan Naiman, Barry Parks, Samuel Sandy Picard III, Sam Picard Sr., Blanche Rogoff, Dora Mayer Rubin, Anne Rose, Mary Borth Roth, Rolf Shaw, Evelyn Warner Silverstein, Doris L. Sugarman, Arnold Jules Tendet, J. Leon Toro, and Julius Wenger. And our heartfelt condolences in the recent passing of Jerry Harrington, Jack McGann, Arnold Singer, Martin Harold Nelson, and Phyllis Hirsch Gowan. May all of their memories forever be a blessing. We rise together as a sacred congregation for the Mourner's Kaddish on page 44. Yikadal, Yikadal, Shemei Rabbah, Bielma Divra, Chirote, Vamlich Machute, Bechayachon, V'yomechon, Uvchayet, the Kol Beit Yisrael, Bagala Uizman Kari, V'yimru.
Amen.
Yehei Shmei Rabbah, Mivarach, Li'olam, Olamei, Almaya. Yit Barach, Tish Tabach, Tit Ba'ar, Hit Romam, Hit Naseh, Vita Dar, Vita Le, Vita Lal, Shemei Kucha, Barichu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, damin ram bi'oma v'yimru, Amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chaim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael, v'yimru, Amen. Osei shalom b'imromav, hu yasei shalom, aleinu v'al kol Yisrael, v'yimru, Amen.
V'yimru, v'yimru, Ve'imru, Amen. Ve'imru, 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 Amen.
Before we conclude with Adon Olam on page 132, of course, I want to thank Cantor Gutchin for filling in again. It's so great to have you back. And I just want to say something special, a little bittersweet. This was supposed to be our 40th anniversary celebrating the Grafman Endowment Fund. And the Grafman Endowment Fund has done so much incredible work for this Temple family. In 40 years, the fund has able to sustain so many programs, our sound, our music, our operations, and a bevy of programs. And in lieu of celebrating what should have been an incredible Shabbat experience, I hope you all have enjoyed the special note and, of course, the mask that the Temple family cares about you. Sorry we're not here, but everyone from the Grafman Endowment Fund, thank you so much, and Mazel Tov for 40 years. Adon Olam.
Adon Olam, Hashem Malach, B'terem Kol Yitzir Nivra, V'et Nasa V'chefso Kol, Azai Melech Shemo Nikra, V'yacharei Kichlot HaKol Levado, Yimloch Nora, V'hu Haya, V'hu Hove, V'hu Yiyeh B'tifara, V'hu Echad, V'yen Sheni, Laham Shilo, Liachbira, V'li Reshit, V'li Tachlit, V'lo Ha'oz V'hamisra, Yalla la la la, 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 V'hu Eidli, V'chai Goali, V'tzuch Evli, V'eit Sarah, V'hu Nisi, Umanos li, Menat Kosi, B'yom Ekra, Yalla la la la, 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 B'yado, Avkid Ruchi, Le'et Ishan, Ve'ayira, Ve'im Ruchi, Geviyati, Adonai li, V'lo ira, Yalla la la la, 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 Yalla la la la.
Good Shabbos.